The idea is they put you in real life situations and you have to de-escalate. But they also put you in situations where your only choice is to use deadly force. And one of those, so I'm standing there and I've got a Glock in my hand and I'm standing in the middle of this simulator and I am an off-duty, the scenario is I'm an off-duty police officer and I'm at an ATM line and somebody comes up and robs the lady in front of me at knife point and tells me to mind my own business. And the first time it happened so fast, I'm just like, stop. And the guy runs away. And so I asked him, what is the training? What is the correct response? And they're like, well, he has a knife out. He's holding it to her. You pretty much have to shoot. You pretty much have to draw your weapon and shoot in that case. And so they said, well, let's run it back. And I'm like, I'm afraid I'm going to hit her, the woman that he's got the knife to. And they're like, her life is in danger. You have to shoot. So I failed the first time. I'm just paralyzed the first time, right? So the second time they run it, and I start shooting the guy, and I hit him. And then all of a sudden, I look over, and the car that he got out of, there's a passenger in that car, and he starts shooting at me. So now I have to shoot him. And I managed to take them both out. But then they run the thing back and they start asking you questions. What's behind the guy at the ATM in the background? Oh, it's a busy street. So my first shot just grazed him on the shoulder. My second shot was dead on. But I kept shooting after he went down because that's just your response, right? I'm just going to keep shooting. So those bullets went off into who knows where. And then I turned towards the guy in the car and I shot, and the first bullet missed and went over the roof and right into an intersection. My second shot, I actually hit them both on the second shot. I felt pretty good about that. But my second shot hit him and then the other shots went off. And I'm sitting there thinking, this officer who arrived on that scene at Ohio State University there are people running in every single direction. And you have to be aware instantly of the threat that person is. Is there somebody else involved? Because as I told you, when I was taking out one threat, an accomplice was somewhere else and started firing at me. So is there another threat present? When you do decide to use deadly force, if you're going to use deadly force, are you aware of where those bullets will go if you miss? Are there other bystanders that are in harm's way? All of these things have to be calculated in a matter of seconds. And having been in that simulator where there's no real threat to my life, I can't really do anything terribly wrong. I mean, my heart was racing like you couldn't believe, and I'm basically in a giant video game. But to understand what our officers do in a moment's notice, in a split second, and to realize this entire event in Ohio lasted 4 minutes from beginning to end because of the quick resolve and actions of these police officers. And then you add into it the equation of whether or not they are going to be prosecuted, whether or not they're going to be their actions are going to be questioned because there's a video out of, is it going to become subject for Black Lives Matter? Is it going to become all of these other things? That's one more thing that has to go through their mind in that moment. I don't know how you do it. It just has to be constant training and retraining. But to go back, it's like watching a football game. And you see the play happen and you're like, oh, come on, that's this. And then they play it back in slow motion. And you have the benefit of after the fact with different eyes and a different ability to see it and play it back over and over again. Not realizing that our officers don't have that ability. They have seconds to act. And in this case, those seconds save lives. It's just a reminder to me of what our officers do every day, how quickly they respond, and how much risk they take on for the benefit of other people. And I was glad to hear Governor John Kasich bring that up today in regard to the response at Ohio State University.